Here's our prompt. You're a 22-year-old and are graduating school in the next couple months. You've got excellent grades and made a number of very strong friendships on campus. Throughout your academic career, you've worked full time while also going to school full time. You've lived in a small off campus house with a number of roommates. Upon graduating, you're concerned about what you will do next. This relates predominantly to where you will live as well as how you will take care of yourself. Most of your college career was stayed near campus because your parents had a lot of marital discord and conflict. They're currently divorcing and selling the family home. Neither one has invited you to come and stay with them upon graduating. You feel the expectation is that you need to strike out on your own. So far, you've been able to survive simply because you've lived with friends who split expenses. You were able to pay for college with scholarship and loans. You are becoming increasingly anxious, and every time that you call home to try to discuss the future, you've heard nothing. But your parents complain about their own issues with one another. You decided to reach out for help and talk to a counselor on campus to work through these concerns. For this scenario, I will be a counselor.
And I will be the interviewee.
I'm Michael Shaw.
I'm David Lutchko.
Hello, Dave. I'm Michael. I will be your counselor today.
Thank you.
What brings you in today?
Well, recently my parents told me that they're filing for a divorce and they're selling the family home. And that's causing me to have a lot of anxiety, and it's causing me to worry a lot because along with having to worry about what they're going to do and what the home situation is going to be like, I have to worry about finishing my schooling here, and then I have to wonder what I'm even going to do after that because I am only able to pay for where I live now by working full time, and even that's a burden on me. And I have a lot of stress and anxiety, and I'm not really sure what to do with all of it.
Okay, so you're stressed out because of the divorce, of the grades, of your future, just everything that's going on in your life is stressing you out, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I think that we need to break this down and figure out each different problem that you have in your life and figure out a solution to that.
Okay.
So I would say that our first problem would be your parents' divorce and what your plan is with that, how you feel about that, and if you know anything about it.
Well, they've always fought, and to be honest, I'm not really surprised that they're actually going for the divorce. It's just that whenever I try to call home to talk to them and try to vent to them about my problems, they end up, shutting me down and then tell me about their problems and tell me about their situation. So it doesn't really feel like I'm getting much of this stress out. It just feels like they're adding to my stress. And then on top of that, once I'm done with school and I don't really have a place to stay, I was wondering if maybe I can come back and live with them just for a little bit until I get a solid job of my own. But neither of them have mentioned anything. They seem so focused on this divorce, and I just, I need them to just focus a little less on the divorce and help me a little bit more.
So would you say that your parents are more focused on their problems than they are yours?
It definitely seems like that.
So when you try to call home, they listen, but they just kind of ignore your questions about living and then just kind of move on to their own problems and talk about the issues with, your father or your mother.
That's exactly it.
I mean, that's just, it's too bad, honestly. And I think that you have to find somebody else that maybe you can discuss it with, other than me. I mean, obviously I'm available to you, but obviously we're not close. We haven't developed the trust between each other yet. And do you think there's anybody out there that maybe you can not only just discuss your issues with, discuss your problems with, but also maybe live with eventually in the future?
Well, I do have some friends from back home, from when I was in high school. And I think if I wanted to discuss anything with anyone, it would be him because he has an unbiased view. He doesn't really favor either of my parent over the other. So I think I could really talk to him. As for living, I don't know if I would be able to go and live with him, but I do have an uncle who he has allowed me to stay over numerous times while there have been conflicts or situations going on. So I think maybe if I reached out to him, he would be more than likely to allow me to live with him.
Okay. So there's some good options there, but is there anything that you're involved in that you enjoy doing that maybe would relieve any kind of stress for you?
Yeah, whenever I do get stressed, I try to go for runs, or I like to go out and watch movies at the movie theater.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes I even like going to the park and swimming or hiking.
Uh-huh. And so, do you think there's anything that you can do with these activities that would relieve your stress? Maybe set up a plan somehow?
Yeah, I definitely think so.
So maybe, when you get stressed out, you could go for a run, you could go swimming. Um, Maybe just have a set time and set schedule of when you're going to run, when you're going to swim. Um, and maybe that'll help you just relieve the stress of the divorce. And quite possibly maybe the stress of good grades too.
Okay, I think that would work.
Okay, so I think the next problem that we should try to figure out is your living situation. And it sounds like you're kind of just stuck. You're all by yourself, and you don't know who to turn to.
No. The only way I'm able to pay for where I live now is because I live with a few roommates, and we all split the expenses. And the only way I'm able to pay for my share of the expenses is because I had a job over the summer and I had to work every day. And even during school now, I work full time. So that working full time now kind of prevents me from, if I wanted to go for a run or if I needed to study for a test. So I just feel that it's this endless circle of barriers, and I'm not able to get around one without running to the other.
So you're not only balancing these couple of stressors, you're also trying to balance these stressors while working a full-time job just to make ends meet, to be able to pay for your rooms and to be able to pay for food to get by.
Yeah.
Um, I gotta admire that, but eventually you're gonna graduate and you're gonna have to find a full-time job that'll be able to pay for your living expenses and everything that you need outside of just living here. Is there any kind of maybe applications that you could put in somewhere that would give you a job that you can maybe climb the ladder and make more money, or
Um, yeah, I guess after school I can continue working at my full time job now and maybe apply for a different job on the weekend to provide.
okay. And what are you going to school for?
Right now I'm going for occupational therapy.
And with occupational therapy, you can do a lot of different occupations, correct?
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe you could apply to a couple different ones, and maybe not even in your hometown. Maybe it'll be easier for you to relieve the stress of your parents' divorce by not being anywhere near them. That sounds wrong, but maybe you just need to get away for a little bit.
Okay, but how would I pay for, if I'm not able to pay for a living situation here, how would I be able to take care of myself somewhere else where I don't have the resources, such as my family, my friends, my uncle?
Well, that's definitely a good question, but I think with occupational therapy, if you can find a job that is involved with your course and curriculum, then maybe you should be able to make enough to be able to fully support yourself, and it'll make you stronger in the end.
Okay.
If you just keep pushing through, I think you'll be able to get through this. I mean, you have good grades now. Your parents are getting divorced, which is sad, but that it doesn't really affect you that much other than your living situation. And you have a lot of great friends out there that'll be able to help you.
Okay.
So, what kind of plan would you like to develop for just everything in general?
Well, I like the idea about maybe trying to get away from the divorce. If I can't help them and if they can't help me, I might as well try to create some breathing room for myself. So, and I think with occupational therapy, I should definitely be able to make enough to provide for a small apartment just for a little bit. So I think I would definitely be able to find, stress, relieving stress by going somewhere else after college and trying to set up shop there and essentially try to work there. And, even if I still find stress with my parents' divorce afterwards or even paying back some loans, I could always do those activities and I'll have more free time to do that since school's over with.
Okay, so this is what we're gonna do for our next meeting, and it may not I hate to tell you what to do, but I think in this situation that you do need a little bit of guidance. So I think for our next meeting, what you should try and do is maybe just keep doing what you're doing, but also try to figure out some steps that you can have in the future. Maybe get those applications in now so you have something after. And then once you're through college, honestly, you'll be all right. If you can get hired at one of those jobs, you'll graduate, you'll be fine. You'll make enough money to where you can provide for yourself, your own house, maybe your own car, everything that you need to eat. And from there on out, you'll have the stressors of your parents' divorce, but it won't affect you that much. And I think after that also, even if you still do have those stressors, you can run, you can swim, because you're not going to class and balancing a full-time job. All you have is that full-time job.
Okay.
Does that sound like a good option?
Yeah, that definitely sounds like a good idea.
Anything else you would like to discuss with me?
That's really it for now.
Okay.